In my opinion, the word fishing and adventure go hand in hand, and we're about to go on one of the most epic fishing adventures I've ever been on. Well, what makes it so unique? The fact that you're on a pristine, untouched river with only one rustic outpost fishing camp on it. We're in Labrador, Canada at Hawke River Outfitters, hunting Atlantic salmon. The adventure begins next on the new Fly Fisher.
There's nothing quite like the people of Canada's East Coast to make a mid-countryman feel quite at home, especially in an extremely remote fish camp. There's a different attitude about the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, and believe me, it's infectious. It's all about the people, the food, the smiles, the river, and of course, the fish. Atlantic salmon are the perfect contradiction to the fine people of the Maritimes. They're grumpy, finicky, boorish, and downright mean. They have the ability to cause seemingly perfectly sane human beings to do crazy things in their pursuit, for that one shot at a giant Atlantic slurping down a bomber. It's heart-stopping, all-encompassing, addictive, and unbelievably fun.
Well, catching an Atlantic salmon is truly, it's a wonderful emotion. I call it emotional experience. It really is. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of those things that once you experience it one time, you need to experience it again, and the more times you seem to experience that fish taking a fly, and that's where all the fun is where a fish, takes the fly right in the beginning, and you've done your job playing them, and the fight is exciting, but when you know you've done your job to trick one of these fish into taking a fly, that's the excellent moment.
It's the most difficult fish there is. They're moody, they're vicious, they're vampires. they sleep during the day and they're awake at night. And steelhead, they're really easy comparatively. So that's what drives you crazy and keeps you coming.
Hawke River Outfitters is a true wilderness outpost camp. Accessible by float plane from nearby Charlottetown, Labrador, the camp is the only outfitter on the river. In turn, you literally have access to pools and runs that get zero outside angling pressure. After getting settled and set to fish, we immediately got hooked up with my guide for the week, MAHAR. I've never fished Atlantic salmon, so this is truly trial by fire.
Wade, this is day one of our adventure here at Hawke River Outfitters, and I thought when we arrived that the weather was terrible, but you don't think so, do you?
No, this is not terrible weather, not you like fishing. This is perfect.
Well, the water's been low and really warm of late, and we've had some serious thunderstorms move through. What's that going to do to the fishery?
Well, that will make the fishing a lot better, of course, because it'll bring the water temperature down and water levels up.
Right. Are there salmon in the river right now?
Yes, there is salmon.
So as soon as that water temperature drops, are they going to start moving up?
They'll move on up the river. Yes. Right now, the water level is a little higher than it was, so they should hold up in these pools here and make for good fishing.
So it looks like we might get some more rain tonight, so that by all intents and purposes, that should mean that we have a pretty excellent week.
Yeah, we need more rain. The water levels are low.
All right, let's catch one of these things.
When fishing Atlantic salmon in Newfoundland and Labrador, here are some of the regulations you must be aware of. Number 1, as a non-resident, you must fish with a guide. You must use floating lines only, single barbless hooks, and you're not allowed any weight on the fly or the leader in any way.
So 45 degrees down,
Yep, hold the
high
rod.
rod.
All right, hold the rod up, bring it, come down slowly.
Am I looking for the wake? What am I looking for?
Yeah, you keep trying to see your fly as much as possible at all times. Don't go too fast with your rod.
Okay. Keep it slow.
Try to slow your swing down as much as possible. Try to cast right over that rock, or just to the right of that rock.
This one right here?
Yeah.
There's Smarty, goes right for that rock.
Yeah, that's the thing about shallow water. The big fish will cut your line on the rocks. They put their...
Now, is that a salmon or a grilse?
Grilse. Hey.
Full of power, huh?
Oh yeah, strong fish.
Salmon in the hole.
There you are. That's
How
nice,
good is that?
beautiful grills.
All right, flies out. Here, I'll give you this.
Okay.
Wade, this is my first Atlantic salmon.
That's beautiful fish.
3.5, 4 pounds.
Yeah, it's about what it weighs.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna let him go.
Yep. There you are.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
sir. Now listen, I want to talk to you about something that was going through my mind since we started this morning. I've never fished for Atlantic salmon, and to do something like a riffle hitch, which is very, you have to be very focused to do it. I got to be honest with you, my confidence level was really low. Not in the technique, but in my abilities. You know, but you get a good guide. What was I doing right and what was I doing wrong?
As far as I'm concerned, you was making a good cast, getting a good drift on your line. You made it all work.
So I am thinking that I'm doing something wrong because I'm not catching fish. And it took about an hour to catch that fish, but really persistency is the key. You got to keep your confidence up.
It's true. So I think it was pretty good fishing.
Well, we pulled off, you know what? 4-pound gross to get the day started. I know there's bigger ones out there.
Oh, there is. You'll find them.
There we go.
There we go.
Right in the pillow of that rock. That
Yeah,
was really
perfect.
cool.
Real nice.
Move down.
Sometime when they get rid of water so dirty, look orange. Like
Yeah, that's a salmon.
No, it's
There, grills.
grills.
Now you want to fight these fish with a really high rod tip, and the reason why is right here. These Atlantics have a nasty habit of trying to get it themselves around the backside of a rock and rub you off like that one just doing right now. So with a high rod tip, you have a much better chance of having that leader not get rubbed off on the rock face, because they are crafty and they are tricky.
There you are.
All right, good job, Wade.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna trade you if I may. Whoops, still got some,
Still got some kick. Okay.
perfect. Oh, look how clean these fish are, huh? Wet your hands.
Nice and shiny.
Look at that. It's perfect. Is that a 2-year-old fish?
Probably 2-year-old.
2-year-old? Okay, get him back. Oh, see, and you went right back to that rock that he tried to scrape me off
Great
on.
job.
Now, the thing that's important here at Hawke River Outfitters is the way that they like to set up their leader system is basically straight from your fly line to a non-tapered leader. So what I've got here is 10-pound fluorocarbon tied right to the fly line, no taper at all, right to my fly. So when you have fish that are trying to rub around rocks to get themselves free, take the time. Always check your leader. It's one piece of material. It doesn't take you long to switch it up. I've got some chafing right here. I'm gonna put a whole new leader on. I actually got very lucky with that fish. And the reason why is I saw that fish porpoise right beside that boulder, and I decided to work it a lot. And I was going to start to work where I saw the fish porpoise, but I remembered somebody telling me that, you know, a lot of times a fish will sit in the front of a boulder or in the pillow that the water creates. And sure enough, my first drift through, I thought I was done all the way, but that fish had picked up the fly and apparently was holding on to it. And when I went to pull up, hooked the fish. Another gross. Can't complain.
Atlantic salmon runs in the Hawke start from mid to late June. Fish that enter the system have done so looking towards spawning. As with many salmonids, once this mating behavior begins, the need for feed is reduced to zero. So how is it possible to catch fish that aren't eating?
Biologically, as I understand it, from the time an Atlantic salmon comes into the river and spawns and leaves the river again, they don't eat. So the reason that they take a fly is part of the mystique of Atlantic salmon fishing, because we don't know. You know, sometimes you can fish over dozens or hundreds of fish and fish all day and not have one take, and sometimes you'll make one cast and they'll grab it on the first cast. So, you know, it's whether it goes back to when they were a par in the spring or in their early stages of life and eating little flies in the river, might be part of it. You know, maybe part of it's what they eat in the ocean and they strike at things, but why they take a fly, I don't know. And that's, again, if you did know, and if you could figure it all out, you probably wouldn't go fishing, because then it would be just catching and not fishing.
But whatever causes them to attack a fly, it sure is worth every cast. No matter the size of the fish, Atlantic salmon put on an unbelievable show.
That's a good one. You know, we've been working hard all day to try to hook one of these Atlantics. We've been at it for about 3 hours. Haven't seen a thing. All of a sudden, Mike Crosby hooks a giant, and that fish wrapped around a stick and busted off. The sun's starting to peek out a little bit. I wonder if that has something to do with it. But a couple casts after Mike lost his fish, I tie into this bad boy. Yeah! It's a big fish.
Yeah, nice beauty. Whoa.
I don't think he was ready yet.
That's a beauty.
This is anywhere you go, a fish of a lifetime. He's still raring to get going. Just amazing. Okay, we're gonna let him go and go for a bigger one.
There you go.
Perfect.
Nice.
My biggest Atlantic. How
Good job.
awesome is
Great
that?
job.
Man, what a
Beautiful.
week so far. It's only day 2.
Beautiful.
Whoa, did you see that? A big salmon just came and whacked that one. Like a big one. Tried to take a chunk out of him. See ya, quick release. Just like that.
Well, the lodge itself is pretty basic structure. We've got, a main camp and a side camp. We accommodate 8 guests at a time. We could take more than that, but that offers the best opportunity for people to get great fishing water. And we keep our 4 guides and 2 cooks on staff at the same time. And then we've got a spike camp up the other branch of this river. And we have a tent camp on this branch of the river so that we can keep people in different locations and give them a real outdoor experience. It doesn't get more rustic than this. This is it. This is true, pure wilderness.
The way that Wade has taught me how to fish for Atlantic salmon here on the Hawke River is twofold. It's actually very easy, and it's also got a very difficult element to it. Let's start with the easy part. The easy part is technically fishing for these fish. What you want to do when you approach your pool is find out exactly where you want to stand to effectively be able to swing the entire pool. Now, when you start swinging the pool, you want to start as close to you as humanly possible, and with the rod tip moderately high, let that fly skitter across the surface of the water. You should be able to see it. Now with a higher rod tip, that will bring the fly to the surface, but you also have tied a riffle hitch onto the very tip of the fly at the eye, and that will also help rise that fly up on the surface of the water. Drive salmon crazy. What you do is once you've swung it across the part that you want to fish, you let it go across, you take out 2 to 6 inches more of line, and you bring it across and back. You effectively fish that again, right across, 2 to 6 inches out again, and one more time. Now, what you're doing here is you're effectively dissecting the river inch by inch. Now, these fish are very particular, and sometimes they're downright cranky. So what you want to do is you do not want to have a foot of difference between the last fly presentation, because you might actually pass it over top of the fish's head. But if you go slowly and methodically, inch by inch, or 2 inches or 4 inches by 4 inches, you're eventually going to put that fly in the strike zone. Now here's the difficult part, and it relates to the inch by inch theory. is that you have to stay focused throughout the entire thing. If you lose focus throughout any part of the drift, you know that that's when a 20-pound Atlantic is going to come up and crush your fly. So you need to watch it all the time. And when that bite happens, be it a suck down or a violent smash, hang on, buckle up, because it's going to be a wild ride. Yeah. Oh! It really does not matter how big or how small Atlantics are. Every single one is just a ton of fun. The last couple of times we've been out, it's been really cloudy. And this is the first real sign of sunshine we've had. I walked in here like we were fishing clouds all over again, and I didn't respect the sun. What do you have to keep in mind when the sun comes out when you approach a pool?
You always stand back further from the pool so your shadow is not casting in the water, disturbing the fish in the pools.
And do I have to shorten up the presentation too? Instead of 4 or 6 inches, goes to like make it smaller and smaller?
Make it smaller, fish.
They're a little more wary, are they?
Yes, well, they can see your shadow and they'll move out the pools if you stand too close.
Another grilse.
Another grilse.
It's got some sea lice on
Fresh
it.
out salt water.
Right out of the salt water. Perfect. He's ready to go. See ya. So the setup that we used here at Hawke River for Atlantic salmon is basically, similar to that of a steelhead outfit. What I've got here is a 9'3", 8-weight, fast action fly rod. On the reel side, we've got the Able Super 7 to 8. I like the large arbor because these fish are very fast and very dynamic, and if they come at you, you need that large arbor to be able to pick up. And the fly line used is a 8-weight steelhead and Atlantic salmon floating line. You have to note that while fishing in Labrador, you have to have floating line. It's against the regulations if you have anything other than a floating line. The leader material that we've got is a single taper, 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. It's really that simple. You get out there, riffle hitch or bomber throw, and man, you can catch Atlantic salmon all day long with one of these outfits. So I wanted to run through the fly selection that we used while fishing Atlantic salmon here on the Hawke River. Number one was a selection of flies that we actually tied a hitch to, a riffle hitch, which allows these flies to skitter across the top of the surface, driving Atlantic salmon actually absolutely crazy. This is called the Undertaker. We also used a fly called the old tried and true Blue Charm. Next was the Green Butt Bug. Not to be overshadowed by the Black Bear Green Butt. And we also tried, for me, one of the first times I've ever done it is thrown a bomber. A bomber is a top water exclusive fly that you add floatant to, so it sits high on the water column, right on the surface, and these fish come up and just smack it. You know, the riffle hitch and the bomber are so exciting because they are very visual. You get to see these giant salmon come up and engulf them. If you haven't tried it, get the selection of flies, put them to use. How was that special delivery right there, huh?
Good job.
Well, it might be the smallest fish of the week, but on tricky conditions like this, look, the fly just popped out.
Yep.
Tricky conditions like this, I'll give you that. Doesn't matter.
Sea
lice, brand new fish, right into the system. This is what you come to Labrador for. Awesome, awesome Atlantic salmon. Wow, what a trip. What a trip. Thank you very much, Wade. I appreciate it. Listen, if you want a trip of a lifetime, you need to come to Labrador, Canada, Hawke River Outfitters, and experience all that they have to offer. It is truly incredible. Hey, thanks for watching The New Fly Fisher. For more in our series, log on to www.newflyfisher.com. We'll see you on the river. Hi, I'm Mark Melnyk. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe today. Now, we're putting up brand new videos all the time, so if you want to be notified when a new one goes up, click that bell icon and it'll come to you as soon as it's uploaded.